My name is Brandon, and over the past year, the Delight Café team and I have traveled across the U.S. researching this rapidly growing industry of CBD products. What we have found throughout the industry were products that were inconsistent in dosage and used ingredients that weren't even lab tested. Products with chalky textures, bitter aftertaste, and worst of all, confusion among the CBD consumers. That's why we created Delight Café. A 15 milligram, lab-tested, all-natural, water-soluble hemp CBD powder pack. It's odorless, colorless, and tasteless. Add it to your favorite drink of choice, wherever, whenever, on the go. Quickly find your calm, your balance, and your delight when you need it most.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Brandon Croucher, CEO of Delight Cafe, doing my best to bring you a calm, balanced, and delight life, even though I am born from squirrels. So, I am here today to actually, hey, Brett, remember how I told you our new number?
Yes.
We got 5 more today.
Oh, that's phenomenal.
I know, I'm sorry. So, guys, go hit the like, the subscribe, the share button. We are up to 316 subscribers because of you. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. So don't forget, hit the like, hit the share, hit the comment button. Tell us where you're at right now because this is time for the Battle Royale. I hope you are ready for this because guess what? Fernando, I'm here. You're here. I see it in the comments already. He says, hey, cuties. So Brett Gordon and I are taking each other on in the battle of all battles today. This is for the best. Kevin Moore, our newest best friend. I love it. Thanks for coming, buddy. So we are literally going live because we're focused on how to find leadership in the movies we watch, but having some fun with it. So Brett Gordon, do me a favor, my friend. Tell everybody what movie we're doing today and why they need to stick around for me to beat the crap out of you.
This is the Showdown from Agrabah, and we are debating which of the 2 Aladdin movies provides the best messages and the best tools for living a better life and providing better leadership. I'm actually coming to you. This is crazy. I got calls coming in. I'm coming to you from Casper, Wyoming, the friendliest town in the U.S. We just had a chance to have a great lunch at a bar and restaurant here called The Fort, and I'm actually tapping into their Wi-Fi to be able to bring you this show from inside my truck, where I could actually have kind of a controlled environment and at the same time sitting very uncomfortably, twisted in my seat in order to be able to make all this stuff happen. So Brandon has already taken advantage of me by putting me in one of the most uncomfortable positions that I could possibly find in order to be able to do the show.
That's right. I'm here to make you Fernando. Kevin's going to be my deciding factor. I see it happening already. So Fernando says he's divided. So Brett Gordon, of the Aladdins, I will let you go first and explain why your version with Will Smith and all these other actors that nobody really with and all that. You could tell us why is the live action version better?
Okay, the live action version doesn't have the same sexual connotations, the same sexist approach to objectivizing women and basically making them, just under the control and thumb of all the men that are around them. To basically, in the original version, they don't even want the woman to have a voice, much less be able to be a leader. And in the recent version, the 2019 version that I truly support, not only do they give the woman and Jasmine a voice, but they give her the vision of what she can become and how she can lead her people. Where in the original version, there wasn't even a thought of her becoming the Sultan. It was only to be able to not have to marry under an arranged marriage.
So, my turn. I like the where you're headed on this, Brett. I get where you're going. Like, all right, they objectified the women. Then why was the costumes the same? They literally tried to mimic it. And only difference they had was at the end where they gave Jasmine all the power and made her the Sultan, which I loved. I thought it was a great way of doing it and showing. Haven't watched either version. Well, that's because it's Disney, and I know you don't want to follow the Nazis. I mean, you don't want to be in trouble with anything like that. So I'm just going to leave that where I set that one. But I go back. Hi, Jessica. Hi, Stuart. All the
Hello,
hearts.
Jessica, Stuart, Fernando,
Yo.
everybody. Glad you tuned in.
We are. So it's the 2019 verse that I was trying to make sure I had the right year, and then I didn't get it pulled up fast enough behind me.
1992.
See, that's funny because IMDb had it as 2009, and I'm like, that's not right. And I had to click on that, and it was directed and other things by a whole nother movie. So 1999, is that what you said?
1992.
1992. Perfect. So I want to know why you think that it's objectifying women when they use the same stuff that they did before.
Okay.
Go ahead.
They used the same general costume for Jasmine, but if you look at the version from 1992 in the animated version, she has got these boobs and she's got this small waist and she's got this butt, and it is all about showing her midriff and really making her as the model, the type of perfection of a figure. And when you look at the my version 2019, they have toned down that costume. They have covered the midriff more. They have not really accentuated those things to be able to create a picture in children's mind of what the princess should look like. And that's the kind of crap that really I really found to be. Disney did a great job in recognizing some of the challenges that they had in the animated version and correcting them so that it was, yes, more politically correct. And I'm not necessarily the most politically correct person, but it is about being able to give a woman a voice and to look beyond her figure and look into her mind. And that's where I really think they also did a great job in building the character of Jasmine in the 2019 version.
My grandma would have said both versions need to eat. I love that. But I you know what, Brett? I can't debate that on that one because Disney had to learn because of the fact that you could use the same debate with Little Mermaid, you could use the same debate with Pocahontas, you could do it with all the princesses until they got to more computer. But and even then I still think they do it. But I take that. But I'm going to actually go a different way. I felt more connected. And it could have been my age. It could have been Robin Williams being the genie. But I grew up loving Will Smith, and I want him to be my best friend. Hey, Will, give me a call. But for real, I literally look at this and I say, I didn't connect with Will Smith as the genie. I thought he was fun. I thought he was entertaining. But when Robin Williams did the genie, I wanted to go find a lamp and get a genie like him. Is that fair?
Yes, I'll give you that. But you know what? I think Disney did a phenomenal job in terms of changing the storyline is by making the genie actually more relatable, making the genie a person, essentially, and having the feelings, and then being able to connect the genie to the handmaiden that the princess had in the second version, but she didn't even have a handmaiden in the first one. And really, it was about this love story that was not only between Jasmine and Aladdin, but the genie and the handmaiden, which I think was great to be able to bring two different perspectives on how essentially the powerful or the royalty can come together with those that don't have that same background.
I'm sorry, I'm getting attacked by a chipmunk. It's literally within feet of me. I got distracted. ADD. See, squirrel, chipmunk. Jessica says if I do that again, Will is going to call 911. All I have to say is in West Philadelphia, born, and I'll stop. So going back to this, I love that the diversity, the change and all that, but like it still doesn't answer the question of the connection. Like the reason Aladdin was such a classic for kids is we were able to connect. Like I felt like I could be Aladdin. And that was the first time any Disney movie used a male figure to be the one that actually is the one getting stuff at the end. Like it's usually a princess. And Aladdin was the first one that was a male that had that. And you had both leads. So maybe that's why I connected with it more than others. But at the same rebuttal, I would say I liked the fact that the cartoon, while yes, I agree with some of your points, I don't think that it had I think the cartoon had the audience in a totally different way than the live action. I did not fear Jafar like I did in the cartoon. Is that a fair? I did not.
Yeah, I mean, and but I don't. I think they changed the storylines just enough to be able to really make this happen in a way that, again, is more in these times than those times. In the animated version, it was like Aladdin was going to become the Sultan. And there wasn't even a thought of Jasmine being the Sultan, especially her being a woman. And in the 2019 version, there was no way that Aladdin was going to become the Sultan, because that was what Jasmine really wanted to do. It wasn't just to break from the arranged marriage kind of crap and the control and the lack of voice, but it was to be able to use her vision, her spark, her imagination in terms of what she could actually become, what she could do for her people, and then being able to get out there and see her people and recognize that there was poverty, there was starvation, which they had that same thing in the animated version, but I think in the way that she related to that and getting out to her people and was in a totally different light in the 2019 version. That's why it resonated with me the way it did.
So I appreciate that, but at the same point, I have to say that Jasmine in the modern day one, it felt like Disney was doing Disney, where they made it where they. I'm not saying Jasmine wasn't worthy of becoming the Sultan, but I felt Disney just did that to appease people because that's what they always do. That's why they have the fan base they do, is they make you think they did something different, but it's what others were already doing. Disney follows and then makes it look like they're the leader. And I have to do one thing really quick. Hold on, buddy. I promise.
You got to pee already?
I do. I'm sorry, guys. I prefer the cartoon. I was actually disappointed with Will Smith. Now, here's where Jessica and I are going to disagree, because she says neither Will or Robin were the best singers, but Robin made you believe he was. Robin sang from his soul. Robin Williams made it where Mr. Aladdin, sir, you felt it. Will Smith has 3 different platinum albums that he's done, and I didn't connect with his songs the way I did with Robin Williams. So I agree and disagree with you, Jessica, and I use that as my rebuttal to Mr. Gordon.
Well, if you're going to talk to me about songs and the meanings, I'm in a big deficit, because I have a hard time understanding the meaning of words in a song, because the music is going on and then I don't even get the meaning out of it. So I'll have to give you whatever you say there, because I honestly don't. The only thing that I can say is that, in the second version, they gave Jasmine the song Speechless, which I think was a very empowering song. And I truly, I'm a big fan of having strong female or feminine energy characters. And I think that Disney has done a lot to really be able to not only become more politically correct, and there was a lot of originally in the movie racial type things that they corrected this time, but they also really looked at bringing in the positive aspect of feminine energy and women, and that to me just really I enjoy. I mean, if you want to look at some of the things that they even said, and this isn't in the video, but in the original version of the 1992 version, in the song Arabian Nights, they actually had the phrase, "They cut off your ear if they don't like your face. It's barbaric, but hey, it's home." Now, they changed that in the video and pulled that back some, but that was so, it's a changing of times for sure. And that's why I do like the more recent version, because I think it does bring into play some of the things that are more in people's face today, in the direction of society, and also in the way that we need to interact with each other. And it's not us versus them. It's not, barbarism versus modernism. It's not the Mideast versus South Asia versus the Muslims versus the Christians. In today's world, we do need to live together, and the strength of the feminine and the women is something that needs to continually be brought out, because maybe if we had more women in more powerful positions and they kept their feminine energy, which if you look at Angela Merkel, she's the leader of Germany, but she is super masculine in her energy. And I think that in Aladdin, Jasmine was able to play the strong role, but not lose her feminine energy and her femininity.
So, I get where you're going with this. Everybody's saying hi, and I'm loving some of the comments that Jessica's throwing at you and I. She had one up here that was like, "Oh my God, you do not want to hear my opinion on that song," when you were talking about that, the one that they changed and added. Trust me, Jessica, we know, because the week before, Jessica wants us to remember, it was very similar to Pete's Dragon with this conversation, which I won, if you remember.
Yeah. Well, at least Jess remembers it that she won, but we all know that I did.
Oh, he's gonna start with that. So I like this too. And then Brian Tracy goes, "Feminine energy is the name of my new CrossFit gym." And then Stuart comes through with this great rebuttal here. You ready? He says, "I guess I was spoiled with strong, powerful women, having been here for the first female UK Prime Minister." Boom. Like, I like how he phrases that, because that's a good point. Jessica then says, "A strong, powerful woman need to be exhibited at home, and then we don't have to depend on the Disney to be the examples to our kids." And then Brian Tracy says, "Fernando." And then Jessica says, I'm gonna come back another episode and remind you." She's talking smack. So somehow I have a feeling it's going to work its way into her show tomorrow that she has, the breakthrough show tomorrow. She'll be like, "I beat Brooklyn." No, I think that the strong feminine energy is seen in this. It is something that is well represented in this movie, but at the same point, there's levels to this movie. Like the genie being set free, okay? Like, while both versions had it, when Robin Williams' character actually got let free, it completely was, you were excited. You were happy, where Will Smith's character was in his other shape most of the movie. And I didn't feel that like when he got free, it was almost like it was that already. Does that make sense?
Yeah, except that to me, when he became free and he lost his connection to the lamp, and it opened him up to a connection of his heart. That is where I thought that was so amazing, because now this all-powerful genie basically relinquished the power that he had to grant wishes, in order to follow the love in his heart. And I think that that's something that we need to be very aware of in today's world too. You know, oftentimes people get so in love with their power that they lose connection to their heart. And this is about bringing connection to your heart, and then bringing that connection between the genie and the handmaiden together, Dahlia, so that they can live together. And then, you know, really this whole story is based on the genie talking to his two children that he had with Dahlia, and talking about you don't need to have all of the riches and everything in the world in order to be happy, in order to have happiness in your life. And I think that that's another very important message, because so much today gets tied into this power and material thing that we lose connection with earth. We lose connection with our heart. We lose connection and not be grounded in our approach to life.
Okay. So my rebuttal on this, other than looking like I'm about to cook myself like Hansel and Gretel, which had me cracking up. Okay, Brett. So in the way this looks is like the version that you like is you like that it had the feminine part. You like that it had these other areas. The freedom was, you get it. But like, I think that for the way this movie went, I'm going to look at the profits. Okay, let's see which one brought in more money. Sound fair? You don't have to say that's the winner, because we have to have a cost of living. So I pulled them up in the background. I will be happy to pull them on. In 2019, hold on, I got to stop sharing a screen. But in 2019, Aladdin brought in over $1 billion, it becoming the 41st film ever to reach that milestone. That's the one you're on. So that means, what would the 1992 version be? It actually grossed only $500 million. So half the amount that the 2019 version has. If you take the time and actually break down where it is with cost of living and the inflation and all that, they're pretty close, but not, yours made more money. So mine with that, see, but here's the difference. Mine was, budget was a lot more because you had to have people drawing everything. They didn't have the computers they had back then. That means they had to make these cartoonists come to life so they can make it all go. All right? They were just at the beginning of getting computers going, stuff like that. 1992, you wouldn't have had a Mac even by that, you know? So think of how much it would have changed if you had people just doing the computer part. If you had people just doing like all, because you can have one person design that whole movie with a computer in 2 years. Where a whole team of people having to draw, where those connect in different characters and where they fly and or where they flip together and all that. That's a lot more that had to go into creating something. And I say, we have that connection with that version. Without that one, yours never was there. So those people's, all of those artists' love had to go into that for us to connect with it.
Okay.
I went after the money side of it. Like, come on. So, all right, let's do star power. Robin Williams versus Will Smith. That is a huge star power on both sides. Why is one better than another? I say Robin Williams just because he took the genie and made that movie with it. He took that movie over.
Well, anytime Robin Williams is in anything, he tends to take it over. He's got an amazing ability to turn a phrase and to create pictures in your mind that are phenomenal. I'll give you that. But what I'm really talking about is, you know, the content of the movie and where it goes. And I think that the ability that, and the thing that Disney did in this one is they actually did really blend the genie image with the human image of the genie, which brought the genie into something that was more relatable for kids as well. So yes, you had this fantasy genie that comes out of the lamp, but at the same time you had this ability to connect with him because he also became a human form. And then in the end and at the beginning, it's all about him being in the human form and becoming the non-genie, right?
Yes.
So
I like how you phrased it. It was just the way you did it. Go ahead. I'm sorry I interrupted.
so to me, I'm not going to compare Will Smith and Robin Williams. They're two totally different types of actors and comedians. Um, and I will always say that Robin Williams has got, the mastermind of, Einstein in comedy. And Will Smith can't touch that. You can't. I mean, but
Okay.
let's just, in terms of the movie, I think that the 2019 version really had a whole lot more going for it, and the ability for kids to relate to it and look at it from a life and leadership role model kind of a thing from both from Jasmine, even Dahlia. The Sultan wasn't the in the original animated version, the Sultan was like this goofball, right? And he but in the remake, the Sultan actually had some depth. The Sultan,
Mhm.
he did connect with um, Jasmine in terms of really kind of understanding where she was coming from, but then the laws of the land, kept him from being the Sultan because she was a woman, and that was all a bunch of horse manure, and that's what Jasmine was trying to bring out. That's why I think that this movie is all about, okay, so what, it was written in law. Laws and times change, and this is kind of what we're talking about here in this movie.
Mhm.
Times have changed from 1992 to 2019. The society has changed. The viewpoint of things have changed. And the part that I really look at is the strength of the feminine energy. And I don't care if that feminine energy is in a male or a female, there's tremendous strength in the feminine energy. And to be able to bring that out in a female version and still maintain femininity, I think that's really impressive. It's not taking a woman and then putting this masculine shell on her and making her the hero because she's got this strength and ability that can stand up against men in a masculine way. It is a way that they've been able to take that energy and that woman and use feminine energy to be able to make her connect with her people and to be the powerful person because she continued to pursue her vision from the time she was a kid.
Wait a minute. I'm your master?
That's right. He can be taught.
Wait a minute. I'm your master?
That's right. He can be taught.
So, I like the fact that you brought that up. You really you nailed it, Brett. I'm laughing at this comment. I'm sorry, I should have muted myself because this had me laughing. Samuel L. Jackson would have been an interesting choice. Mother, rub my bottle. That's funny. I picture that so well. I agree with you, but as a leadership thing, see, I have a hard time disagreeing with you on some of these points, but I also think that as a leadership quality, I think it showed us different styles of leadership in the cartoon version. You have Robin Williams being willing to give up his freedom to be able to give Aladdin the last wish. You have Aladdin wanting to have that change of having all this fame and money and everything, and then the change just to be able to give back to the genie. So I look at even Jasmine. Jasmine wanted to go help her people because she saw they were poor. It was totally about each character providing a leadership quality. And not that yours didn't, but it focused towards one more than the others. And I think that as a leadership quality, I would look at both movies, and I have to see the cartoon version as the one that provided leadership, because if you're any one of those characters, you're going to be able to connect with them. For me, it was Aladdin and Abu, just so we're clear. But but then you add into that I learned from Jasmine there. After I watched that movie, I wanted a pet tiger so bad. but I knew I could never get it. But what did I learn from Jasmine? That there always are going to be, no matter if you're rich or poor, you're always going to want something on the other side of the fence.
Yeah, but see, you're not supposed to be petting Jasmine's tiger. Yeah. If that's what you, that's the whole reason that I'm talking against the 1992, because it is so sexualized. Stop trying to pet Jasmine's tiger and focus on Jasmine as a leader.
I did. I said why I learned from her, but I like how you tried to twist that. The smile's my favorite. I like how you did that. But the thing is, she provided leadership in both movies. In the first one, she showed us that there's stuff on the other side, while Aladdin showed us not to have the ego or look for everything everybody else wants. They both were looking for happiness, but didn't have it because they were both looking at it for different perspectives. And then you turn around and you have the genie who breaks out of this horrible thing, and Jafar. They both have different perspectives. Jafar wants power. The genie has that power he wants. So we see all of that broken down through each character. Oh, are you okay?
Yep.
Okay. Sorry, the pizza stuff's coming out, so I'm like I'm going to be eating pepperonis and bacon in front of you in a second, Brett. I hope you're okay. But
That's okay. Wait. I just had Rocky Mountain oysters.
Wait. This is my favorite part. Where did it go? It's roasted, sauteed, and roasted peppers. So I have there's a lot here that we're going to be playing with tonight. This is going to be fun. It's going to be a good night. The first movie showed you didn't have to have a title to change things. Ooh, she goes with me on this one. And I think that that's the thing to look at. You wanted to look at these. We want to talk about these as leadership qualities. And that's what that whole movie showed, is each one of them were a leader in their own way. Where in this other one, I have to tell you right now, I did not fear Jafar. I didn't look at him and the genie as having their ups and downs that I did in the original one. And in the original one, while yes, it's a cartoon, they weren't. I wanted to be afraid of Jafar like they wanted. I was scared something was going to turn into a snake.
That's another thing that I think is really about what's going on here and today, right now, with the shit that's going on with COVID and all the way in the media and everything. This is where the concept of Jafar in 2019 is kind of this snake in the grass behind the scenes, trying to manipulate the power in order to be able to control the direction and the narrative of the people and what is actually going to be happening to do what he wants to do. He's kind of, manipulating the power so that he can eventually take over. But even when he's not in power, he's manipulating those that are in power. That's the same kind of crap that's going on in society right now today. Whether you're talking about, and it's very interesting that, we just did this whole thing of leaving Afghanistan, and yet the movie of Aladdin is taking place in basically like Persia or that area of the world. Now, I think that's what makes this movie even more so, is you can watch how these snakes in the grass that are behind the scenes manipulate the people that are in power and try to get their way. And that's another message that I think really came out here, in my opinion.
Okay, I'll let you have that, because it's not like Jafar overtook the Sultan's mind or anything, or tried to overtake Aladdin's during the movie.
Well, he did actually. You remember the staff of the snake that even in the 2019 version, he was trying to hypnotize the Sultan so that the Sultan was basically under his power, and it was Jasmine, if I'm not mistaken, that kind of broke that train before the Sultan was completely under Jafar's control. Correct. So again, this is things that we as the people need to break in the middle of these people that are behind the scenes trying to brainwash the Sultan, try to brainwash our people, and come back and say, hey, this is time for us to retake control of our own destinies and tell these people that, we're not going to fall for their brainwashing.
But of the two, you referenced in there how they used the staff and all that, and how they brainwashed the Sultan, turning him into a figurehead, and that's 100% right. And that was from the cartoon version. The one that's the modern day version, that snake only hypnotized the Sultan the one time. They were using it throughout the cartoon to hypnotize people, and that means that Jafar was using his power in bad ways. So that's bad leadership.
Well, it's leadership that the intent of the leadership is bad. That doesn't necessarily mean it was bad leadership.
I'm going to let you have that because my rebuttal would be what cost me the game. But if it was just you and I have one that I would use. That's all I have to say. So
to me, today's world, today's snake or staff to use to hypnotize people is the media.
Okay, go with it. I'm going to give you 30 seconds of nothing but Brett.
Okay, so today you've got the media in people's face all the time. People are glued to it. Their eyes are on it. They're just looking at it every day. They are being hypnotized by what's coming at the media. They even forget about their own ideas. They may have originally thought one direction, but after watching 18 months of the media telling them a certain story, a certain narrative, they have taken that narrative as their own now. And now they are out there promoting the narrative because they're hypnotized. They're brainwashed in the same way that the staff was able to do that to the Sultan.
I can't disagree with your points, but I still see the cartoon being the one that shows us that as a strong hypnotized point. And if they're going to be able to use that, the cartoon version would be the one you'd show people to make it be where they're able to show them the hypnotizing and how it works, staff or not. Now, on to the next one. Aladdin. Did you connect with Aladdin in any way?
Yeah, Aladdin was this, I call in the movie they call him a street rat. In reality, he's somebody who doesn't have the money, but he's using his resources in a way to survive. He's created an environment where he is basically a kid who almost raised himself, has created an environment that is comfortable to live in and actually has attributes that the richest people want to have when you have this vision and view of the city. So I see him from that perspective. Now, he also was a thief, but he had morals, and he actually, stole things and then used that ability to help Jasmine get out of trouble. Then he stole her bracelets, but he was like, I need to bring these back. And so he had morals, which I think is actually something that happens in a lot of people that get in trouble today. They do have morals, but because of the situation that they're in, they put those behind until something of a higher power, whether it be the love of Jasmine or to try and improve themselves, to impress their kids, their parents, whatever. You have that same kind of thing that happens in today's world. And yes, I did connect with Aladdin from that perspective.
I like where you went with this, but I also know that in my rebuttal for you, Aladdin, the leadership qualities Aladdin brought from the cartoon version compared to the live action was he showed not just compassion, he showed everything you were just basically saying, but he showed it in a way that you were connecting and seeing he wanted something more. And then you saw when he realized that he didn't not just have it, he already didn't just have it. He was actually able to, you saw in the cartoon, Aladdin turn and actually become the person he was supposed to be, just like Jasmine. Where in the newer version, you see those leadership qualities of him grabbing the apple and giving it to the kids, him doing things like helping a boo and stuff like that. But at the end, it becomes... the leadership doesn't land there. It doesn't hit with Aladdin like it did in the cartoon. In the cartoon, he was able to be, you saw him change and become the leader that he was meant to be all along. I think in the newer version, they did that with Jasmine.
Well, I agree. And I think that, in the first one, there was this vision of Aladdin, wanting to become the Sultan. You know, that was his goal. That was his end goal. I think that in the remake that I relate to, he is trying to help himself and help others. He recognizes that he's in love with a princess and he's just a pauper. But
A pauper.
in the end, he is recognizing that it's got nothing to do with his stature or status, but being himself, and that as yourself, as your true self, you can become a power that can connect with those that have a status, a title, etc. And he didn't, you know, it became apparent that Jasmine was going to be the Sultan, and Aladdin didn't like feel slighted because of that.
So, a pauper, I hardly know her. Sorry, that one had me. Brian asked a very interesting question. I'm just curious. I wonder what the production budget was for each movie. Oh, that's funny you should ask. I have those numbers right behind us. So, in 2019, it cost only $183 million to create. Wow. Give me 1 second. I want to make sure I read it right. It cost $480 million to make the 1992 version. So it shows you how much they saved by 183 to 480 million. That means they barely they passed it after weeks of sales. That means that movie had to be such a hit that it got there. Clay walks in, sits for a minute and says, "Wait, is he advocating for a new version is better? Me? Yeah, him. That's bull."
New version is absolutely better.
Clay, you get 2 points in life today because of that comment. So, Brian Tracy, there's your answer to that. The budgets are way different, the computers and all that. Brett, I ask you this. We have about 15 minutes left of the show. Tell me exactly what tool you saw for all of these for people to put in their leadership belt.
The tool that I saw and that I came up with is the sparker. You know how you have that sparker in order to get a torch lit? So I see, yeah, you know, it literally sparks. And then you recognize that from a spark, from a vision, from an idea, what can come of that? Jasmine had this spark, her vision of what she wanted to be, and then she went out and she saw her people. That became the fuel that actually took that spark and became a flame. Then she challenged her father, and it continued to add more fuel to the fire, to ultimately where that fire took over from and created her vision of now being a benevolent sultan that can not only break the stereotype of what a woman can be, but also to connect with the people, not stay in your palace, not stay in your house and try to rule over your people, but to be able to get out there, because that's where your fuel really is. You can be the spark, but if you have no fuel, nothing happens. If you have a lot of fuel but you have no spark, nothing happens. So to me, it's the sparker. Even if you look at Aladdin, his vision of what he thought he could, well, what he did create actually, and his ability to still connect with the people around him, so that even though he was a street thief, he was helping others. So again, a spark that adds to, or can, when you find the right fuel, can create an amazing energetic fire, as opposed to the kind of fire that we're seeing out west right now, which is a very destructive fire, right? You need that fire within. And in order to do that, you need to have fuel. And that fuel tends to come from within. The spark comes from within. The fuel can come from outside.
So your tool is the thing, correct?
Yes.
Okay. That's kind of funny. I have to pull mine into the screen really quick so you see what I have. Because I don't think you're going to believe me, but this was what I was looking at. Boop. Can you see it? Oh, damn it. I pulled up the wrong one. Sorry. That's my fault.
It's a good thing it wasn't a vibrator.
Right? No, that's on the other tab that I forgot to open. So I picked. Stop giving me pop-ups. So have you ever seen one of these before? And the reason
that's like
I picked
a flint stick.
Bingo. Exactly. Why did I pick the flint stick? The flint stick I picked because you still need to be able to have other parts to get that fire to go. And when you get that spark, while you may have that, you may have your torch and your gas. Without the gas, you don't have any fire. But the thing is, just like the fire pit back here behind me, it has to start from something, from nothing. And with a flint one, you can be anybody and be able to go out in the woods and spark to get yourself a fire with dry wood and dry leaves. You don't need gas. You don't need anything. You are able to propel yourself and keep yourself warm and survive, which is what this movie wanted. It gave us that spark in different directions for all different ages. And that's why I see this being the way that this was a better leadership movie than the live action. It provided that spark to teach us all that everything on the other side is not going to be the grass isn't always greener on the other side.
Well, it's interesting that maybe we've been spending way too much time together, even though you're in Cleveland and I'm in Vegas. And so if you're connecting with a flint stick and I said a sparker, which basically are doing the same thing. They're creating a spark that can ignite and turn into a flame.
So you want me to pick something else? I could easily do this. I did that because of the fact that my vision was the fact that you need to be able to do it yourself. And that's what that version taught.
If you don't squeeze the sparker, it isn't going to create a spark. So I think that, the two of them are very much the same.
Okay. Then we need the audience's participation and voting for this one. How's that?
Just fire starter is absolutely right. If you don't start a fire, how are you going to make a change? Fires can be constructive or destructive. Constructive fires are what we need. Brandon's building a constructive fire so that he can make a pizza.
Yes.
Now, Jess would make that pizza with, nothing but vegan stuff.
Yeah, that's fine.
I got to say stuff because I'm not exactly sure. And Brandon is going to have pepperoni and that kind of stuff
peppers.
on it. But,
like peppers? Oh, yum. Yeah. I love peppers. You make fun of a vegan pizza, you're losing voters. You're losing voters.
I didn't make fun of it. I said you can make a vegan pizza. You can make a meat pizza. The key is the fire. A constructive, contained fire can create magic. And that fire within is also the same thing. If we lose our spark, our vision, our dreams, and we lose our fuel that can turn into that flame of desire, we will not move forward in a way that's going to be as effective from a life or a leadership perspective. And oftentimes in today's world, we do lose that ability to dream. We lose that spark. And without that spark, you're not going to create a flame. Without that flame, you're not going to create a pizza.
And you know what? Everybody's voting. I'm getting. We said we give it up to the audience for the win. I'm sorry, Brett. I love you. I really think you are an amazing leader, and you teach people in such a different way, and that's why I love doing these things with you. But unfortunately, it looks like Robin Williams takes it for the cartoon. And I have to be honest, I love that everybody's comments are just like that. It is literally, wine. It is literally, and there's another one for 92. It is unanimous. I cheers you, my friend. I do love you, Mr. Gordon. While you're driving through the countryside, remember, you are 0 for 2 right now. Jessica Dugas?
Well, the fact that Jessica went with 1992 kind of goes back. I think Jess is an older soul than even me, and she's into this older kind of movies with these very radical and very old ways of thinking. Now you got to come back to what is really going on in society today and how we can empower people in today's world rather than stick back with the old crap that we had from the days before.
So, wow, Panda comes out of everywhere and goes, hey, guess what? Panda Sue, if I said that wrong, please tell me how to say it right. Lion King was better anyway, so who cares? I think that's raising the bar for next week. We could have Panda Sue challenge you to the live-action cartoon of Lion King. Do you think you could beat her? Or him? I don't even know. We don't even know because it's a cartoon. Them? Okay, them. I'm being told that's the proper one. Panda is fine. Cool. Nice to meet you, Panda. Beating Brett down is the name of my new reality show. And I'm a guy. Perfect. Nice to meet you, Panda. I am honored you're here and that you're having fun with us. We have a lot of new people joining in lately. And guys, we're honored you guys are here. Like, for real. You guys are filling my heart with joy seeing people want to change their world together. So thank you for being here.
And I appreciate what Jess says there, that we have to respect where we came from to appreciate the present and the future. And you're absolutely right. I think we have to appreciate it. We have to recognize it. We got to make sure we don't live in the past, that we live in the present, and that we can use the present to create our new future.
I love peppers. I agree with that too. And even Kevin comes over and says, boom. I love it. Guys, what a great episode. Brett, what's the name of your show?
This is One Square at a Time with Brett Gordon from Businesses Are People Too, where we try to help people to move forward with leadership and life skills, one step, one square, one tool at a time, so that you can build your toolkit for life and leadership.
I was doing one step at a time for every time you said one step or one square. Are you vegan sports peppers made by Tony?
Troy Aiken.
That's who we had on this morning. Our peppers are vegan, but there's other things here that are not. So that's why I'm not picking at those. There's an onion. There's black olives that I will not be eating. There's roasted peppers. No. Onions again. Banana peppers. A jus. Like, I feel like, is that a jus?
Pesto.
Look at that.
Pesto.
Jessica is making reference to soap operas now. That to me is scary, only because so many people in the past. I remember in college, and I was in a male dorm, all these guys would come in to watch Days of Our Lives and All My Children. And I'm like, and then everybody's bitching about it. I'm like, well, why would you tune it in to look at that as a way to learn tools for life?
I love you. I think that this is a great thing that we're doing. And just like Jessica says, like sands through the time of an hourglass, so are the days of our lives. Brett, tell everybody where they can find us tomorrow morning.
Tomorrow morning, you can find us on Java Delight at 10 a.m. Eastern Time, Dark 30, frickin' 7 o'clock Pacific Time. And I'm going to be in Mountain Time, but I am probably going to still be asleep because we have not had much sleep so far on this trip from Vegas to South Dakota.
So I guess, Panda, we're going to have to be able to vote and see if it's going to end up being Fernando with Mulan or you with, dang it, I just saw that pop up, or you being able to present your fight versus son of bitch, where did it go? Lion King. Boom. I'm excited to see what we're going to have, but Brett's 0 for 2, and at 12 p.m. you can watch the Breakthrough Show. Don't forget, guys. Go! All right, guys.
Yeah, you can watch the Breakthrough Show where you can see Jessica and I love Jessica, and we have our
Jessica, she's married,
friendly
Brett.
challenges.
She's married, Brett Gordon. Don't be loving on married
I
women
don't
like that.
care. You can love on married women. You just can't do certain things with married women.
I'm just going to watch for what comment comes out of this one. I'm just kidding, Brett. All right, guys. See you in the morning. Brett Gordon, get a little bit of rest. Get on the road. I look forward to talking to you soon. Thank you for a wonderful battle and losing to me again. All right, guys. Have a good one.
Take it easy. Have a great one.